What is up, YouTube? How are you doing? Happy New Year 2024. This has been a long time in the making of a knife review of the good old ProTech Malibu. Now, I remember about, about a year or so ago, this thing was everywhere. I mean, every single person, here we go, a little bit brighter, every single person was raving about these. And you kind of just don't hear about them anymore. And I mean, they're still an amazing knife. I'm not sure why. Maybe enough people got them and the popularity kind of waned. I'm not sure. But anyways, so ProTech Malibu. This is not an automatic knife from ProTech. It is a button lock flipper. We will go over more dimensions and specs later. As you can see next to a Sharpie, because everybody has a Sharpie, if you want to have it compared more to other knives. Obviously, Benchmade bug out, very similar. We have a Spyderco Native 5. Definitely Native 5 is smaller. And the Sakashi, which is there's similarities in length and stuff wise. So you roughly have a believe this is like a 3 1/4 inch blade of 20 CV, as you can see there. ProTech CPM 20 CV. You have an aluminum textured frame. You have a button lock, obviously. So it is a plunge style button lock. So let's see if I can get in there. Yeah, so as you could tell, when it engages, see how it pops out? Push it in, disengages, that comes right out. Awesome ProTech quality. Nice deep carry pocket clip with that's recessed. Now what's cool is if I don't know if you could tell, but even though this is textured, they put a nice little flat spot in there. So when you put it in your pocket, it doesn't get all weird going in and out of your pocket. Let's get, where did I have it? Oh, here it is. Okay. So I got a cloth here to show you how the carry is like in the pocket. So I personally think that that's a good amount. When it comes to deep carry, you can have too deep of a carry, in my opinion. I know that sounds weird, but this allows you to still grab it. It allows it not to get caught up, and it allows it to form and function easily. I have about extra large hands. That's what I usually use. This knife fits amazing in the hand. Obviously, I'm a righty, but I will hold it in my left hand because it's easier to see that. Easily enough, 4 fingers, fits in there great. You could choke up here if you wanted to, but I'd be careful because obviously the edge of the blade is right there. So you could hold it here. Pinch gripping, obviously, is no problem. It's the reverse Tonto. Let's talk about the good, the bad, and the not so great. So I'm endorsed by ProTech. I don't have any ties to ProTech, so any opinion is my own. Things that I love about it, I love the aluminum body. I know people say sometimes, for a certain price point, you shouldn't be paying for aluminum and this and that and blah, 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 blah. But here's the thing. These knives, depending on which style you get, they can range in price. I understand that. But ProTech is a USA company making everything in-house. So they're making all the handles in-house. They're making the button locks in-house. I believe they're even making their hardware in-house. I'm talking about even the screws and stuff. Everything, as far as I am aware, and I could be wrong. If I am wrong, Let me know down in the description. But as far as I'm aware, everything that ProTech does is in-house. So you have some companies like this one right here, as you can see the name, where they are made in the USA, but really what they do is they sometimes order their parts from overseas. They get their parts from overseas and they assemble it in the USA. Maybe they may make the blade in the USA, or something like that. That sometimes happens. But ProTech, as far as I'm aware, 100% made in USA. So that's something that I appreciate. I love this reverse Tonto style. You got a nice thick. It's thick enough where you don't have to worry about it, but it still gets thin enough behind the edge, which is plenty. I mean, I don't know if you can see that. It still gets plenty thin enough behind the edge. I like ProTech quality. I like the fact that, they actually offer a flipper basically for people like me who I live in Massachusetts. I'm not, and Massachusetts actually has like 2 knife laws, and I'm still trying to figure it out because it's really weird. But my side of the state, I live on the Western Mass side. Pretty much we can almost carry anything that is not automatic, not anything that comes out of the front, kind of like a switchblade or a gravity knife. And I don't think I have any restrictions on length, except for fixed blades. I don't think you're allowed to carry above a certain amount. Anyways, not the point. The point is that, I could carry something like this in my side of the state, no issue. If I go to Boston, I believe they have other laws there. You're not allowed to have basically in Boston, I can only carry this case knife if I really wanted to, because I think that's all you're allowed to have basically in Boston. The flipper, it feels great. I have no issue. I mean, I could try to see if I could fail it, but it's got a great detent on it, so it's really hard to fail. The action on it, I mean, it's just a nice thwack. I've had some where they kind of sound like a little ting, like they got a little ching in there, but this doesn't have it. The things that I will say that I don't love. Now, see, here's the thing. I think this is just a really, really great solid knife. I think if you're looking for an American-made knife that has awesome quality, made 100% in the United States, then you can't go wrong with the ProTech Malibu. Now, the things that I do have an issue with, which when I talk about my issues or what I have an issue with something, it's not because I don't like it. It's because I genuinely feel like it could be an issue in general. One being the T6 hardware. I don't love that most of it is a T6 hardware. That's not a deal breaker for me because you just got to be extra careful. But T6 does have a tendency to strip out really easily. As you can tell, there's T6s here. Let me double check what the pivot is, because T6. Because I don't think the pivot's even a T6. So to me, it's not a deal breaker. It would be nice if at least the pivot was like a T8, maybe even a T10. Or, I mean, some of these others that could easily be a T8 or a T10. But it's not the end of the world. It's not very often that you probably have to take this knife apart. I mean, it came out of the box perfect. I mean, look at the centering on it. I mean, the knife and the blade are so, or the knife blade and the walls of the scales are so close. I mean, centering it's basically perfect, and I mean, that's the only negative I well, that negative is a what I call a more factual negative because, like I said, I can't. It's not my. It is a personal preference, and I have a T6, but it is fully understandable that a non T6 would be nice. You know what I mean? I'm not the only one out there that feels that way. Um, the only other negative is the only way to really deploy the knife is you have to do it by the flipper. That's it. There's no other way of really deploying it. You could get your finger down here and reverse flick it, and obviously you could pinch it if you needed to, but there's no other way of really getting the knife out. I mean, like I said, I have to use my ring finger on my dominant hand, and then I can reverse flick it. And as far as I'm concerned, if those are the only two negative things I could find is the hardware and maybe the one little thing of deployment, then it is what it is. I mean, there's so many other knives where there really is no other way to deploy it either, and I'm not going to sit here. I mean, the Wii Sakashi, I mean, in that video, I kind of showed you how you could slow roll it, how you could reverse flick it. Well, I just failed it because it's on camera. And then obviously they have the flipper tab, but I mean, in general, a lot of knives sometimes only have one primary way of deploying it. You know what I mean? If you really think about it, this uses the flipper tab. Say something like the Benchmade Bug Out. It uses a thumb stud. Something like the Spyderco Native 5. It uses the thumb hole. You know what I mean? Like, I think saying something like, oh, it's reverse flickable, blah, blah, I think that's something that's a fidgety trick, I call it. It's not really a something that is, that you have to do, if you know what I mean. But besides that, I mean, solid knife. I mean, it feels amazing in the hand. Like I said, I have an extra large hand. The aluminum feels great. I love the textured versions, they give you that little extra grip. I mean, if you are a lefty, it kind of stinks because the pocket clip, unfortunately, is only on the right side. But, I mean, for lefties, you could easily flick it and then use your pointer finger to, let it go. But, I mean, if you don't have a ProTech Malibu or haven't had the chance to try one, or if you have a friend that has one and can let you try it out, they are well worth it. They are such great knives, such great quality. Definitely, probably one of my top favorite knives out there. Well, take care, guys. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you have a ProTech Malibu. Let me know what you think. Let me know if my only two negatives about the knife are something that maybe turn you off, or maybe it's not that big of a deal, like the T6 hardware. To me, not that big of a deal. Having really the flipper tab be the only way to deploy it, not that big of a deal, but to some people don't like flipper tabs. That's something that I've kind of gone back and forth on because I do like thumb studs, but technically thumb studs could get in the way of your cutting. Some knives, the thumb studs are very aggressive and they could get in the way of cutting. So this has a nice clean blade. So depending on if you're even cutting right here, you got nothing basically prohibiting your cutting at all. So that is something to consider. Well, for now, guys, take care. I hope you enjoyed this one. ProTech Malibu. Please like, comment, subscribe. Like I said, let me know down below what you think. Take care.